Hello and welcome to a short overview video of the newest contact library from Rigid Audio called Groundshaker. So, what did I do just there? I just started playing around with the sequencer, and we can actually influence the sound and the actual pattern or groove. So the next thing I would like to show you is how to change just the sound of the kick, snare, hi-hat, shaker or the percussion. For that, we're actually going to delete the other steps, which you can do by just clicking in and dragging your mouse, or you can alt click or use option if you're on Mac to add exact copies in a quarter step actually. So we just start off with the 4 on the floor with the hi-hat. So I'm kind of liking this, so let's just keep it kind of vanilla without too much effects. So this is like the basic pattern we are working with. So if I want to add a bit more hi-hat, I can do that. But maybe I don't like the actual hi-hat that's being used now. We can change that by clicking on the question mark. Or we can decrease the complexity of any pattern that is actually being used in the sequencer. As you can see down in the perk section, there is the FX highlighted, which corresponds to the FX on top of the layer systems. If I turn it off, the sound changes quite a bit. It gets a bit harsher and rougher, but sometimes this is good. And below the FX you can see numbers changing. That's because every kick, snare, hi-hat, shaker and percussion sound used in Groundshaker is comprised of 4 individual sounds. So this means we can also trigger these sounds. So let's start with the kick. As you can see, all the layers highlighted, and the same goes for the snare and the hi-hat. So we can actually play our own drums. So everything that you see here, you actually can influence. We can also use the question mark that's below the FX, which I mentioned before, which is the switching through the individual sounds. So this is what you hear when I'm playing the snare. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. So if I turn that off, it's just one sound, the actual snare. So let's put that in there so we get a bit of groove, and we can listen to that with a bit of more stuff. Again, on top there's also the shuffle function, which just adds a little shuffle groove to all the patterns. Let's say we are happy with our pattern and how the beat turned out. We can use the Midi drag and drop function. So if you click the left mouse button on this boombox, you can actually pull out all of the Midi information. So we can actually use this and listen to it. And of course I can edit this. And of course, if I like to change only one part of the actual groove without changing the rhythm to it, I just highlight FX and pattern and click on the exclamation mark while wave is highlighted. So let's have a listen to this just a second. So this is what it sounds now. Let's remove the shuffle now. And we just randomize things. I like this one. That's something I can work with. Okay, so just as a side note, there's actually a lot more you can do in Groundshaker. Not to drag this video too long, and this is just a small overview, a small portion of the things you can do with it. Basically, you can trigger the loops, you can play the actual drums yourself, if you're capable, which is fun. You can mix and match sounds, you can randomize. So let's randomize something else. And I really like the outcome of all those loops you create, basically. If you're happy with the thing, you can actually just use it and play along to something you already created, or maybe just get some kind of inspiration.